Before the Second Vatican Council, the Catholic Church saw herself not as an institution that changed herself with every generation, but as the faithful guardian of a treasure entrusted to her by Christ Himself all through every generation. Her mission was never to create new truth, but to preserve the truth already revealed. From the apostles onward, every pope, every bishop, every priest received what had first been handed down, as St. Paul wrote to the young bishop Timothy, saying, "O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust." The deposit of faith was understood as something to be guarded, not rewritten. For nearly 2,000 years, the Church had withstood persecution, heresies, schisms, revolutions, and wars. Each age presented new challenges, yet the Church answered them, not by altering revealed doctrine, but by explaining it with greater precision. When confusion arose concerning the divinity of Christ, the Church answered at the First Council of Nicaea. When Protestant reformers challenged Catholic teaching, the Church answered at the Council of Trent. When modern philosophies questioned faith itself, the Church responded through the teachings of our popes and the solemn definitions of the First Vatican Council. Development, you can argue, yes, but contradiction? Never. So was the determination with which the deposit of faith was jealously guarded. By the middle of the 20th century, Catholicism had become truly universal. Hundreds of millions of Catholics worshipped throughout the world. Though separated by oceans, languages, and cultures, yet they shared something remarkable, which is, whether one attended Mass in Lagos, Paris, Enugu, New York, Manila, Sydney, or Buenos Aires, the prayers were substantially the same. Latin United Catholics across every nation. A traveler entering an unfamiliar church could follow the Holy Mass from beginning to end. The language of worship belonged not to one nation, but to the universal church. The Holy Mass was understood as the unbloody renewal of Christ's sacrifice on Calvary. The altar was not merely a table, it represented the place of sacrifice. The priest did not act merely as a presider over an assembly. He stood in persona Christi, in the person of Christ, offering the Eucharistic sacrifice on behalf of the faithful. This understanding had shaped Catholic worship for centuries. Every gesture, every vestment, every prayer carried profound theological meaning. Nothing was considered accidental. The Church's influence extended far beyond Sunday worship. Religious orders built hospitals, schools, universities, orphanages, and missions. Countless priests and religious dedicated their lives to serving the poor, educating the young, and preaching the gospel. Missionary activity flourished on nearly every continent. In many places, Catholicism was growing rapidly. Seminaries in numerous countries were filled with young men preparing for the priesthood. Religious communities welcomed thousands of new vocations each year. Yet, beneath this visible splendor of the Catholic Church, new challenges were emerging. Communism now flourished. Secular philosophies increasingly questioned traditional Christianity. Scientific progress accelerated. Television reshaped culture, and prosperity transformed societies. However, none of these challenges would pose a greater risk than the enemies of the Catholic Church. And to this cause, evil fraternities gathered with one single goal, which is to destroy the Catholic Church. Did Christ leave his church in oblivion to these plans of the enemies? No. On October 13, 1884, after celebrating Mass in the Vatican, Pope Leo XIII appeared to fall into a trance or ecstasy for several minutes. Witnesses reported that he looked pale and deeply disturbed. After the vision, he later wrote saying that he had heard two voices in a conversation. One voice, identified as Christ, asked Satan what he wanted. Satan replied that if given 100 years, he could destroy his Catholic Church. As reported by the Pope, he said that Christ gave Satan the permission he sought. Deeply moved by what he encountered, Pope Leo XIII quickly composed the prayer, Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits who prowl through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Fast forward to 1984, Vatican II has been concluded, its promulgation enforced, and its resultant widespread application had turned the Catholic Church completely unrecognizable. From this to this. Prior to Vatican II, the Catholic seminaries and clerics had already been infiltrated, who on the outside were ordained priests, but on the inside had a unified mission to destroy the Catholic Church from within. Their propositions were already springing out from their various designated positions throughout the church. Some were head of religious orders. Some became bishops, while some infiltrated into the College of Cardinals. Little by little, they consistently but subtly kept using modernism to undermine the doctrines and practices of the Catholic Church. Pope St. Pius X, with an attempt to curb these imminent insurgents in 1907, promulgated the encyclical titled Pascendi Dominici Gregis, where he called modernism the synthesis of all heresies. His concern was that modernism introduced principles that could affect virtually every doctrine by treating revelation, dogma, scripture, and the church's teaching authority as historically conditioned and therefore subject to reinterpretation. Then came Pope Pius XII, brilliant, reserved, and deeply theological. He guided the church through the devastation of the Second World War and the difficult years that followed. He encouraged biblical scholarship, liturgical study, and missionary expansion, and also warned repeatedly against theological trends that in his judgment risked departing from the church's perennial teaching. In October 1958, the reign of Pope Pius XII came to an end. No Catholic at this point ever imagined that the familiar world of Catholicism is about to be uprooted from its very foundation.